What up, everybody? This is your boy Dedrian Colon from House of Rasslin, and this is my review for the September 24th episode of Wow Women of Wrestling. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notifications so that way you are notified when House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Tonight's episode of Wow Women of Wrestling did not disappoint, man. In spite of the camera cuts, which I will say, there was a slight improvement. There's still a little work that they need to do as far as the camera cuts. It's more so the cuts. There was I can't remember what match it was, but there was a few matches where they went real quick with the camera cuts, but for the most part, it's more just the angle that they cut to. A lot better than the first episode. The first episode was just like, I see movement, but it's all right. It's good, and I had to watch it again. It was like, all right, this man is pretty good. But overall, man, they're putting on a really good show. I'm grateful and glad that these women wrestlers are getting an opportunity to showcase their skill and everything. Again, another good positive about this show was the crowd. Like, that crowd for that show is very electric. And I will tell you this, that crowd has more energy than what I've seen in Impact Wrestling and NWA. And that's saying something. But that crowd makes this show. And the way it's paced and everything, it's so good. Another thing that I liked about this show, last week was pretty much an introduction to the new season. And of course, the vignettes were, last week was just like, oh man, these are really good vignettes. But these vignettes this week, man, they were so deep with backstory. And the way that they do these vignettes, they do it so well that, and the story that they're telling with these wrestlers, which I do believe there is some truth and reality to it, but it's so engaging and captivating that you're watching this, you're just like, okay, man, this is really good. And the way it's done is so good and so persuasive that you're just like, man, I want to know more about this wrestler. And then it cuts to the match and everything. But man, tonight's episode, man, so much fun. So much fun. I enjoy this show because I know that there are going to be not one, but several women wrestlers that are going to be major players in the professional wrestling world in the next 2 to 3 years. And there's some talent here, and we saw some talent here tonight. Before I get into that, I'm going to give you guys the results. So we had the Heavy Metal Sisters. They lost to the Carlson Twins, Lindsay and Lori. Then you had Jesse Jones defeat Ice Cold and Foxy Fierce. And I'll get into how that whole thing played out. Then you had Leah McCoy defeat Glitch the Gamer. And then in the main event, you had Rina Del Rey defeat Princess Aussie. And that is the results for Wow Women of Wrestling. But the first match, you had the Heavy Metal Sisters against Lindsay and Lori Carlson, Miami Sweet Heat. I believe, yeah, Miami Heat Sweet, that's their name. And mind you, this was for the Wow Women of Wrestling Tag Team Championship tournament. This was a really good match. This was more. So, when I say physicality, they just got more of the moves, just had more, like, boom, bam, boom. Like, this was a really good match, man. Like I said, a lot of double team moves by the Miami Sweet Heat, Lindsay and Lori Carlson. Like, a lot of double team moves, like some really slick double team moves. One thing that I really liked about this match, and actually all the matches here, was the pacing of the matches. not so much from a production standpoint, but just how the matches played out. Like it was just entertaining, um, back and forth, and you really saw more of the wrestlers showcasing their strengths and their opponent showcasing, okay, this is their strength, and how am I going to overcome this strength? And just using, just their wits to maneuver their opponent's strength. Which, again, this is the second episode. The first episode was more of an introduction, so you really didn't have much of that because it was just basically giving an introduction. With this, really showcasing. And this was a fun tag team match. It was intense, physical. Then, at a certain point in this match, it just picked up and just boom, 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 boom. They did mention that the Carlson Twins were trained by Offensica. I was like, that's interesting. But in the end, Lindsay and Lori Carlson, they win, so they advance in the tournament. Then we get a vignette package of Foxy Fierce. Her dad was a doctor. There she mentions how nobody in WoW is like Foxy Fierce because she's the best. Very good vignette. She's roller skating in California and just going. It was like, oh man, this is really cool. And like I said, these vignettes just add so much depth and intrigue to these wrestlers that you're just like, man, I want to know more about these wrestlers. And one thing that came to my mind when I was watching this, I'm like, man, it'd be so cool, like, for Wild Women of Wrestling to do something like a Total Divas. Like, this would be the perfect tie-in for a show like this. If they had like a Total Divas type reality show tied into Wild Women of Wrestling, where you just have that crossover in, that would be a perfect idea for them. I don't know how much they would want to do it, but man, something like that. And mind you, that was for WWE, and WWE mostly at the time was, there wasn't the women's revolution or anything, but it played into the women's revolution, and I think that would be pretty cool if Wild Women of Wrestling did that, have a reality show attached to the product to just give it more of an intrigue. And the reason why I say that again is because of the vignettes. Those vignettes are so good and entertaining. Then the next match, it was originally supposed to be Ice Cold and Foxy Fierce. But then Jessie Jones comes out and she's giving the announcer Dave a piece of her mind. She's basically saying, I came to be tag team champion. How can you have a tournament when I never lost? And Dave responds, well, you're the championship was relinquished because your partners had to leave WoW. So she's like, you know what? I'm a tag team champion. I could beat these two women on my own. So they turn a singles match into a handicap match. And Jessie Jones did her thing in this match. She looks good in this match. Kind of interesting when this happened, because I was like, as I'm watching, I was like, oh man, it's pretty cool. And then it dawned, I was like, man, it would have been, the whole Jessie Jones spot would have been perfect. Like this match, the Foxy Fierce and Ice Cold match, this match would have been perfect if they did this last week on the initial episode, because you had the Beast get attacked by Rina Del Rey. And it would have been perfect because you would have had this to open up the show. And it was like, oh man, this is why they're having a tag team tournament. And, that would have been really cool just to tie into the second episode. Because that's, when I watched the first episode, I was like, man, why are they having a tag team tournament? Like, what happened? What's going on? Mind you, this is my first time watching Wild Women of Wrestling in a few years, and I was like, man, why is it? And then the second episode was, oh, that's why they're doing it. So if they would have swapped it it would have been pretty cool. But man, she did her thing. She won with a armbar and gets back on the mic. She's like, I don't need a tag team partner. I could win this tag team tournament on my own. And Dave's like, well, you're going to need a tag team partner to get into the tournament. So find yourself a partner. So Jessie Jones is going to find her partner. So we got to tune into next week if she does get a tag team partner, which pretty cool. Like a very simple, effective storyline for Wild Women of Wrestling. Like, man, okay, this Jessie Jones was a former champion, but now she needs to find a partner. And I don't know, it's just little things like that. It's like, oh, wow, it's interesting, but it would have been nice if they would have done this, like I said, in the first episode. Because it's like, why does she need, like, why is there a champion? It's like, oh, that's why. But, wow, they wouldn't, like, just a little mix up like that. But, man, if they would have done that, that would have been perfect. But in spite of that, man, I'm intrigued to see who's going to be your partner, how this plays out, if they continue in the tournament. The other thing that I do think they should do is, like, I can't remember if they showed a bracket. Because, like, we don't know who's in the tournament. Like, it's just the last 2 weeks, like, oh, this tag team's in the tournament, and this tag team's in the tournament, and there you go. Like, there's no brackets or anything to so, oh, okay, these two are going to go here. Maybe, now that I think about it, maybe they will show the bracket maybe by episode 4, maybe next week or episode 4 or 5. Maybe they'll do that as the teams start getting advanced in the tournament. They might have a bracket and then go from there, which now that I think about it, they might do that. But still, like, this is fun. I was like, wow, this is pretty interesting. Like, all right, see where this goes. Then we had a video package of Leah McCoy. She's Samoan. She touched on the haka dance that they do in the Samoan culture. This is a very well, like, out of the, I believe there are 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they do like 3 videos each episode. So out of the 6 vignettes, I believe they showed in the last 2 episodes, like, this has to be the best one. Maybe, oh my God, I can't remember her name. Forgive me, guys. I know last week it was the boxing one. That one was pretty cool. That one was a really well done vignette where it tied into the her opponent. Like, what? You still gotta beat. Like, you still gotta beat me. So, really like that. But this one was really good. Leah McCoy. And I'm actually familiar with it because if you guys watch this episode, you're like, man, she looks familiar. She was actually made a few appearances on AEW Dark as, I believe, Reba Taka or something like that. I believe that's what her name. Comment below what you guys, if you remember her name. But she has appeared in AEW Dark. But man, this was a very, man, I love this vignette, man. This was a very good vignette. The vignettes, I don't want to say the message, but just, like I said, like, the vignettes are so captivating and so dramatic that it's just like, man, I really want to know more about these people because it's like, this is really a good build up to why they're wrestling. And it's like, oh, okay, this is why they're competing and what they had to deal with to get to the point where they're competing. But then we get Glitch the Gamer and Leah McCoy. And me personally, this was the match of the night for me. The reason why Glitch the Gamer versus Leah McCoy was the match of the night for me was more so the match they told, the match they had, more or less, better term to say. It was just a great back and forth style. And I tweeted this, and it is true. I believe this wholeheartedly. They have a bright future. Their look is unique. Their story, their presentation, their ring style is unique. And I'm sorry, you're gonna see these two women do some major things in professional wrestling and women's wrestling in the next 2 to 3 years, because they have it. Like, this was, out of all the matches I've seen so far in Wild Women of Wrestling, like, this was one of the most solid matches that I've seen, and I'm just like, man, this is really good. Like, this is really good storytelling. It was a well-paced match. The physicality, the punches, the strikes, the strategy that both women used in the match was just so good. Like, man, this was so good. And again, I'll say it, man, they got a bright future. Glitch the Gamer and Leah McCoy, they have a bright future in professional wrestling. But man, this match, I enjoyed it. The back and forth I enjoyed. And actually, this match, and I'll touch on this also, this match, I believe, had the least amount of camera cuts in this match. And I think that's one of the other reasons why this was one of my favorite matches, because of that. But man, I enjoyed this match. The finishing move that Leah McCoy does, like, it's like a claw, and then she just ran, like, I was like, damn, that's a vicious hold. And she's got a Samoan drop. Glitch the Gamer, a nice crossbody maneuver, a drop kick. Like, man, she's got a look. Both of them have a look that's very championship look. That's the key. Championship main event look. And they're gonna do something. So remember this video, because I'm probably gonna be the first person, not the first person, but I'm probably gonna be the first person to say that. But they got a bright future, and I look forward to seeing how they're utilized in Wild Women of Wrestling, but also how they utilize going forward in professional wrestling, because they have a future. Then we get a video of Princess Aussie, and again, another great vignette, man. I think that's one thing that you're going to come away with watching Wild Women of Wrestling is their vignettes. Like, their vignettes are so good and so dramatic and so just draws you in. And this was cool because right after this, you had Rina Del Rey versus Princess Aussie. This was a nice balance between power and speed. Rina Del Rey, man, she is a beast, man. She has some physicality. There was certain points in the match where Princess Aussie tried to, she did, a monkey flip, has her, and she's trying to pull her down, and then Rina Del Rey tries to, hit her, and she misses. And I was like, man, all you got to do is just, like, sit on her, like, boom. And I'm like, man, I was anticipating, but it never happened. I'm like, man, that's interesting. Like, usually most wrestlers, they do that. They'll just do that, bam, just, sit out, splash it, boom. It's like, oh, it hit my chest and stuff like that. But no, she didn't do that. And I was like, man, it's very interesting that wasn't executed. But the heart chop and the slam on the turnbuckle, man. Whew. Man, that chop, that was a loud chop. Like, she got it right here, just pow. It was like, damn. And that's surprising, considering, the show that Wild Women of Wrestling have, like, to have that type of physicality. Because so far, it's just been very maneuver, boom, 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 boom. But man, Rina Del Rey is like, nope, you're going to know me. Bah! Like, man, I love that. But man, the missile drop kick that Princess Aussie executed was fantastic. But man, the power slam that Rina Del Rey executed, ooh boy. Executed, got the win, 1, 2, 3. Rina Del Rey defeats Princess Aussie. They're celebrating. Mind you, the credits are rolling. Then out of nowhere, the Beast. Yes, the Beast. Oh my, oh my, oh my. The Beast comes out. She spears Rina Del Rey. Gets out the ring. So it's like you have that storyline because Rina Del Rey attacked the Beast last week. Now the Beast attacked Rina Del Rey this week. So now you're like, okay, they attacked each other. So what's going to happen on week 3? Episode 3. So how's this going to play out? So I'm interested. I enjoy the Beast. When I first saw her last week, I'm like, yo, this is something I have not seen in a while, and I don't think I've ever seen in a women's division before. So I'm like, this is going to be interesting. So, I mean, out of this episode, you got the Beast, Rina Del Rey storyline. Then you have Jesse Jones and, the whole finding a partner tag team tournament thing. So, I mean, this is fun, man. This is really fun. And then you have Miami Sweet Heat advancing in the tournament. So you have the Tonga Twins and Miami Sweet Heat. So you have teams advancing in the tournament. Jesse Jones trying to find a partner. Then you have the Beast and Sarah Del Rey. Oh, man, forgive me, guys. Rina Del Rey. Forgive me. Rina Del Rey. And their feud. So pretty cool. It's like each episode, there's more story being added. And, man, it's fun, man. Especially for women's wrestling. There's a lot of women wrestlers out there. And it's giving them an opportunity to showcase their talent and skill and, their creativity. And it's fun. I enjoy it. It's a perfect alternative to everything else we see weekly. And, man, I hope this continues and it's successful and the crowds get bigger and it's just fun and everything. But this was a fun episode of Wild Women of Wrestling. Man, I don't know what else to say because it was fun to watch this after watching the SmackDown and then Grand Slam and then Victory Road. Like, this was just a great, all right, let me watch this. This is to the point. It's simple. It's fun, effective, and all right. And that's what it was. It was simple, fun, and effective, and just an escape from all the other wrestling for me that I've watched so far. And like I always say, it was great alternative, complementary alternative to what we've already seen. So shout out to Genie Bus. Very good job. And AJ Mendez, you guys are doing a very good job, and look forward to it and see where it goes. Hopefully there's more stories added on, and I know we're probably going to see more. We're going to see some different wrestlers next week because it seems like every week we're getting different wrestlers, which is really cool. And the presentation is fun. The characters are fun, so looking forward to it. But this is my review for the September 24th episode of Wild Women of Wrestling. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so that way you are notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, I don't know if there's any more wrestling the next day or so. Of course, we got Raw and that whole big reveal, possibly. But enjoy wrestling, man. There's a lot to enjoy. A lot of great wrestlers out there, man. They're doing their thing just to entertain us, and man, just enjoy it, man. All right. With that, I'm out.